Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Next, we have the Honorable Matt Zone, who is a council member from Cleveland, Ohio. Appreciate you being here. Councilmember Zone, recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman Graves and Ranking Member Napolitano and members of the subcommittee. I am Matt Zone. I'm a council member from Cleveland, Ohio, and president of the National League of Cities. I'm here today on behalf of the National League of Cities, which is the oldest and largest organization representing 19,000 cities and towns of all sizes across America. I appreciate this opportunity to share our perspective on the importance of the Environmental Protection Agency's Brownfield program and discuss how the program contributes to the revitalization of communities and boosts the local and national economy. Uh-oh, just lost our flag. Mr. Chairman, as an older industrial city, Cleveland has had a long manufacturing legacy. Today, that legacy has left us with many abandoned factories, vacant commercial spaces, and polluted industrial sites. These brownfield properties pose environmental and health risks, but redeveloping them has helped to bring new life to Cleveland and to create new opportunities for our residents. In 2005, the city partnered with the EPA and the state of Ohio, local businesses, and other entities to create the Land Bank program, which is targeting former industrial and commercial properties for rehabilitation. Known as the Industrial Commercial Land Bank, the program's mission is simple: to invest in redeveloping contaminated properties for productive use. And to date, Mr. Chairman, our Industrial Commercial Land Bank has redeveloped 13 sites. We've cleaned up 137 acres. We've invested $40 million in Cleveland, and we have created or retained 2,800 jobs. In my written testimony, members of the committee, I highlight 3 projects that our city has undertaken through our land bank. But right now, I want to talk just about one in particular, the Trinity Building. It's been one of the most challenging sites, and I think it illustrates why the federal support for brownfields redevelopment is so critical. The Trinity Building is a small 6-acre site, but it posed huge challenges for our city. Today, the site is positioned to be the future home of our city kennel, but it took a difficult road and a strong federal-local partnership to get there. The Trinity Building was originally a factory that produced aluminum products and employed over 500 Clevelanders. But in 1980, the factory closed. And by the mid-90s, the abandoned building had become a blight on our community and a public health risk for our local residents. So in 2004, the city took ownership of the property, and we allocated $2.9 million for remediation. 3 years later, the city discovered that the site was contaminated with dangerous PCBs. With such a significant public health risk now in play, the city requested that the EPA investigate the site and assist with immediate response. After conducting its response, the EPA announced that the city itself, and this is important, the EPA announced that the city itself could potentially be liable for the cleanup. If it had not been the worst-case scenario, that huge cost of treating PCB contamination would have put our land bank program in jeopardy. Fortunately, the city was able to work with the EPA to prove that the pollution wasn't the city's fault, but the process took years of litigation and delays, and it created substantial uncertainty in the remediation project, which ultimately increased our costs to the city. You know, when you look on the return on that initial investment, Mr. Chairman, as a local government official, I can attest to the fact that the brownfield redevelopment is a powerful economic tool. Turning polluted properties back into productive real estate helps us create jobs in distressed communities while simultaneously improving public health and safety. But brownfield redevelopment involves a lot of risk for cities and for developers. You know, projects like the Trinity Building needed public support to compete with newer development sites and overcome the challenges of working with contaminated real estate. Our brownfields challenges, some of the challenges and unique opportunities really allowed us to support our cities and towns as we work to really revitalize our main streets and downtowns across economically challenged neighborhoods in America. So NLC urges Congress to reauthorize the Brownfields program and make some key improvements. Our first priority we would urge Congress to increase or maintain the current overall authorization level for the program. My colleagues will discuss some of the other shared priorities, like the importance of a multi-purpose grants and raising the overall cap on the cleanup grants amounts. But I want to take a minute to just talk about the issue of municipal liability. You know, Cleveland's experience with the Trinity Bill highlights one of the greatest challenges that local governments face in redeveloping brownfields, and that is the dangerous liability concerns that can arise when cities acquire contaminated property. For most brownfield sites, the only chance of redevelopment is through public acquisition. But just like with the Trinity building, hidden liabilities can arise after cities acquire property, even if the city had no role in creating those contaminations. The results in that many local governments are unable to acquire property because of the risk of incurring major liability. And Congress can fix this problem by clarifying and expanding the liability protections for public entities that acquire contaminated brownfield sites, especially where that public entity was not responsible for creating that contamination. You know, in closing, Mr. Chairman, in 2009, I had the opportunity to testify on the reauthorization of this program. And I'm grateful that the City of Cleveland has the experience and the resources to start redeveloping many of our brownfields in our neighborhood. I'm joined today by our David Ebersar, the director of our Brownfield program. And our story in Cleveland is no different than any other industrial American city. And our residents are feeling the benefits of turning polluted sites back into productive places. But even though there's so much progress that has been made, the work is nowhere near finished. I want to thank you for this opportunity, Mr. Chairman, and I look forward to your questions in a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Councilmember. Our next